Okay, so here you go, hit on our commute. We're gonna go the long ways. That's I can take actually, you know, the longer way, so we can talk about lyric graffiti some more. But overall, people say that, you know, direct drives have no torque. Okay, so here we're gonna come at a stop completely. All right, this is at 0. Now this is a QS205 high torque direct drive motor, so yes, it got a lot of torque. You can see there, absolutely no issue getting up to power pretty much, you know what I mean? And we're not gonna go too much faster, but the other thing too I love about these brakes is they handle quite well. They're not too sensitive, but they're sensitive enough that even if you go really fast, you could actually stop the bike. But those that say that, yeah, that all direct drives have no torque, that's not true. It's only some of the lower power hub direct drive hub motors that do like the 1500 watts and under. Usually when you start getting to 2500 watts and up, they have plenty of torque. I've even seen some good torque out of 2200 watt motors and stuff like that. Here you go, we're going here. Yeah, they're squealing a little bit because it's about 30 degrees and stuff like that. So like I said, that's probably about the only time they squeal. Now the other issue I want to go ahead and cover is essentially the huge battery issue they're going to be having. And yeah, there definitely is an issue. They kind of actually confirmed it already, because they were actually talking about, like, it's the fuse. They were telling people that, yeah, it's just the 50 amp fuse that they're using, stuff like that, that they replaced the whole entire battery pack and stuff. But no, it's more than just the fuse. There are people that are actually blowing up the BMS essentially and stuff like that. And people have confirmed that they blew up the BMS because they said they saw a lot of smoke come out, and one guy even thought that his battery was actually going to catch fire and that it melted the side of the casing and stuff like that. So no, it's just not the inline fuse, you know what I mean? But that's what Lyric Graffiti is trying to downplay it as. They're saying, oh, we didn't tell them manufacturer the battery put the inline fuse. They went ahead and put it in themselves and stuff like that. And the fuses is popping. That's what's causing the battery pack not working. No, what's causing the battery pack not working was that you didn't use a discharge module and went ahead and paralleled them. And one guy even kind of went in detail and stated that that's when the actual BMS blew up, was when he forgot to charge one of the batteries. He went to go ahead and turn on both the batteries and stuff like that, and literally right after he turned it on, it popped the BMS essentially. You know what I mean? So that's what's causing it. It's inrush current. I already knew that was gonna happen. That's why, you know, you want to go ahead and make sure the batteries are at the same state of charge, so that doesn't happen. But if you would have put a proper, you know, discharge module or battery blender, as most people call it, you wouldn't have that issue, because it wouldn't be popping the, you know, BMS. But I'm looking, they're actually all putting new lights, which is about time. Like I said, they're investing a lot of money into these parks and to the infrastructure lately, thankfully, because they're actually putting bike lanes on the road and everything else, which is nice. And these trails actually go pretty far too as well and stuff like that. You could take them to different counties and stuff like that, which is actually pretty nice, you know. So glad to see that they're doing it. They're spending some money on the actual, you know, infrastructure a little bit. But overall, there you go. Now, yes, another thing that someone did mention, which is actually very, very true, the guy's very knowledgeable, is that, you know, cold weather will actually affect battery performance and stuff, and that's 100% true. Anything below 50 degrees Fahrenheit is actually going to affect performance, and when you start getting into the 30 degrees and stuff like that, you'll even lose a lot of your capacity, so forth. You'll lose about a third of your battery capacity and so forth too. Plus the air is denser too, so when you're actually riding the bike, you're not going to get as much performance out of it, because the wind's going to be pushing you back and stuff like that. You're going through thicker winds, so you're not going to get as much as like you would in the summer and springtime. You'll probably get better top speed on that bike because, you know, the air is thinner, of course, and stuff like that, and the bikes can perform better and so forth. So yes, that's actually 100% true, you know what I mean? But at the same time too, though, the bike still should be able to maintain, you know, 37, 38 top speed, especially going downhill and stuff like that. And like I said, the guy that's been testing the bike, Mark, he went ahead and couldn't even get it up to, I think the top he could get it up to was 36, 37, and that was like going really downhill on the thing and stuff, and he was struggling to even keep it at, you know, 32, 35. Like I said, right now, this here is like, you know, in the 20s and 30s. Yeah, I'm not gonna, we're not gonna make fun of the lyric graffiti as much no more, but you can see there that this bike has no problem getting up there. And we got also a lot of wind too today, so there's no excuse, you know what I mean? And this QS205 motor is originally a 3,000 watt motor. I'm just pushing it at 5,000 watts, so you know what I mean? Or at least they sell it as, you know, 3,000, 5,000, 8,000 watts and stuff like that. Motors are not specifically wattage specific, you know what I mean? It's how they're wounded, you know what I mean? The thickness of the copper, of course, and stuff like that. It's gonna be able to handle that current. And then if you get back EMF, there's a lot of things when it comes to building a motor when you're testing and stuff like that. You want to test for back EMF and so forth too as well and stuff like that. But we're not gonna go into how motors are built and all that other stuff in this video, obviously. But overall, though, this was originally sold as a 3,000 watt motor, so it's kind of comparable to the Lyric Graffiti 2,500 watt motor they so claim. It's only about a 500 watt difference, you know what I mean? But like I said, it's all about the controller you're using. It's all about the battery setup you're using. So this is actually running on a custom Panasonic pack that I built about maybe less than a year ago. I'm not sure exactly when, but it took some time to build it though, because I had to wait for the cells to come back in stock and so forth. But I built this pack about a year ago and can easily deliver over 100 amps of current with no problem, and that's what gives this bike excellent performance, because it's that 72 volt. So of course you're gonna get the higher speed as well as the higher torque. And yes, speed and torque does coexist, even though some will say, oh yeah, the more voltage you get, the more speed you get, and the more, you know, which is true. The higher the voltage, the more top speed you're gonna get, but torque also plays a big part of it too. You know what I mean? You also get more torque as well too and stuff like that. And especially if you're a heavier rider, it's gonna help. And I'm a very heavy rider, so I'm heavier than Mark than that was on that Lyric Graffiti bike. So there's no excuse why that bike shouldn't be able to do, you know, 37, 38. I take in 1,500 watts with 18 MOSFETs controllers at 52 volts, the same kind of setup that Lyric Graffiti pretty much has and stuff like that. On a windy day, in dead of winter, with even snow on the ground, and I was able to get that thing up to 37, 38, no problem, all the time, consistently, you know what I mean? And here's a hill, okay? And you can see pretty much from a dead stop, this bike has no issues with it. I didn't have to assist it. It would have kept going faster if I let it, you know what I mean? I don't want the bike obviously to fly up under me, so I'm very careful with it. But at the same time too, you know, that's how the Lyric Graffiti should somewhat perform. Now I don't expect it to perform as good as this one, because this is a 72 volt, you know, at higher amperage and stuff like that. But if they would have went with a 60 volt battery and at least 60 amps of current and stuff like that, they'll be able to perform pretty close to it, you know what I mean? Because once you start getting into, you know, 37, 38 mile range top speed territory and stuff like that, to go over that is actually very hard at that point and stuff like that. You get very little gain out of it and stuff. And I'll have to do a separate videos on how and the reason why aerodynamics and all that other stuff to explain that and stuff like that. But overall, once you get to a certain point, it gets very hard for that bike to actually be able to perform actually much better than like if you're out going from a 750 watt to a 1500 watt. Obviously you're gonna see a big increase, but if you're going from a 2500 watt to a 5000 watt, it's not gonna be as as big of an increase like you would have saw if you went from the 750 watt to the 12 or 1500 watt motor and stuff like that, because you're gonna have resistance and so forth that you gotta deal with and so forth. And then it all depends, like I said, on how that motor's winded. The motor windings, the thickness of the copper, if they're using multiple strands, all that will affect performance overall. So here you go, we're gonna go up a hill. It's a direct drive. That usually has no torque from what some people say at all. No direct drive has torque. Yeah, I'm seeing about 44, 45. I'm not even pushing it at full power. I'm only pushing about 60 amps right now. You know what I mean? And that's not even full power. That's actually pretty close to what the lyrics should be able to do. You know what I mean? I'm not gonna go break any laws or anything like that, going too fast over speed limit always, I'll get in trouble. But overall, yeah, I would say that's what the lyric could be, because I'm not pushing this at full power. I'm only running about at 60 amps right now to control. I'm not pushing at the full 100 amps. If I did, I'll be able to easily clear over 55, 60, no problem. But overall, you can kind of see what the performance is, you know, and that's what I would expect from the lyric, as they claim that, oh yeah, it can push 50 amps continuous. Yeah, right. You know what I mean? You're only 10 amps different, and you're telling me you can't get up to speed and stuff like that? Okay. But like I said, they're trying to downplay the battery issue, you know what I mean? They're saying that, oh, it's just a 50 amp fuse, when it's not just the 50 amp fuse and so forth. It's also the BMS blowing up on them and stuff like that. And I don't blame them for trying to downplay it, because obviously you don't want to upset your customers and stuff. But the problem I'm having is that people are telling me that they're saying it's going to take 4 months to actually ship out a new battery. And there's some people saying that they contact them and they're not even responding back and stuff like that, you know, as they should and stuff like that. So they're kind of pissing off a lot of people, you know what I mean? And you spend $3,000 on a bike, you want better customer service. Oh man, train. Oh, you gotta love the train. I hope I could get past it before it comes, but I likely doubt it. I'll probably end up getting stuck at it. That's just how it typically works. But we'll see. Oh no, okay, maybe I can go. Yes, hopefully we can make it. But overall, they're pretty much downplaying the video, and then they're calling anyone that actually confronts them about it. They're saying, oh, you're just hating on us. You're lyric haters and stuff like that. You know what I mean? They're acting like children pretty much. You know what I mean? Instead of addressing the problem and just fixing it in a reasonable time. I wouldn't even mention the battery problem if they didn't say it was going to be 4 months to actually go and fix and stuff like that. Normally when you find a design issue, you go ahead and just fix the issue, you know what I mean? And then take out the inline 50 amp fuse or whatever. They should have put honestly a discharge module on that bike, but you know, it is what it is pretty much. You know, they already did. So what I would do then to rectify that is I would, in the manual on the front page, just put on there in warning, do not you know, discharge both one or the other battery. Make sure you actually discharge them at the same time and that you charge them at the same time. Then that way you can prevent people from having problem with these batteries, since it's already there, because it's gonna be too much work to have to take the bike back and put a discharge module in it and stuff like that. So I would at least put a warning, and then that would, you know, resolve a lot of the issues and stuff like that that they're potentially gonna have. But overall, this concludes the video, and hopefully I won't be talking too much about them anymore.